of La Penta, it's WICR.
Hello, Iona College. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe back for one final time this semester. We are closing up today for the semester, so it'll be the last time I get to come on, do the NFL picks. But don't worry, there's plenty of ways to get the picks when we are not on. I'm sure we'll be opening up the station a couple times during the winter break, but for the most part, the station will be closed. So let's make this last NFL picks a great one. Obviously, last night you had the Dallas Cowboys beating the Chicago Bears on the road 41-28, and to be honest, they were just in full control of this game. The Bears got a little bit of an offensive explosion at the end, but it was all garbage time anyway. There was no point in this game where the Bears really threatened the Cowboys. The Bears they're the bad news Bears. They really are. They're a disaster defensively. I think Mark Trestman is most likely on his way out. Just the season they've had from game one when they lost at home to the Buffalo Bills to now, it has just been a complete disaster for a team. I think a lot of us thought we're going to really have a nice year building off of what they did last year. The Bears have just had a horrendous year. Jay Cutler's been horrendous. Mark Trestman has not done a great job. And defensively, they might be worse than some Canadian Football League teams. So let's get by that game. Picked it right on Thursday. Let's go into the big games. And I don't really like the slate of games this weekend. This is a kind of a weird slate of games to pick, but we'll do our best. Let's start off with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I'm amazed that the Cincinnati Bengals are at 8-3-1 right now because Andy Dalton has not played well at all to this point. 13 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, horrendous. It shows you how good his personnel on that team is. Defensively, they have outstanding personnel. Offensively, outstanding as well. A.J. Green, Giovanni Bernard, Jermaine Gresham. Lots of playmakers on both sides of the ball. Andy Dalton really has been just amazing how bad he's played with how well they've done record-wise. Pittsburgh as well, very up-and-down team. Maybe one of the most inconsistent teams in the NFL. Very hard to judge week to week. I just don't see that consistency ever with them. So I'm going to go with the Bengals here at home. I still don't like the way Dalton's playing, but I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers have shown you anything to really tell you they're going to go on the road and really, really hand it to the Bengals. So I'm giving the Bengals my home edge here. Now the next game, the Indianapolis Colts and the Cleveland Browns, is one that's been in the media all week. Everyone's been saying, should the Browns go with Johnny Manziel or Brian Hoyer, stick with the guy who's brought you to a 7-5 record? I think it's the right choice. I mean, it's right right there. I mean, they haven't had a quarterback who's had them with a record like this in forever, and now Brian Hoyer has led them to a 7-5 record. Now, he's got to play better. He has not been playing well, but I don't think Johnny Manziel was the answer. I can't see what he would do very differently to make them a better team than they were with Brian Hoyer, so I think it's the right decision, but I still do think the Indianapolis Colts will win the game. It is a road game for them, but Andrew Luck, I mean, what can you say about the kid? He's just amazing. He's had an incredible year. Offensively, they really just never have trouble getting in rhythm or moving the ball. Maybe there's a couple stretches here and there, but for the most part, he's always got an answer for any defense he's played this year. It's just defensively, the Colts are not very good, but the Browns don't have the most explosive of offenses, so I like the Colts big in this one. The next game you have is the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have no faith in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are just a disaster to me. I've picked against them almost every single time this year. That will not change to this point. If anything, I think the Lions are going to get even better right now, building off of last week. I mean, it was really promising to see on Thanksgiving because my one knock on the Lions this year was in offense, they really struggled to get into rhythm, really struggled to build offense. But in that game against the Bears, the offense came back. Matt Stafford played well. They were missing Reggie Bush, so that's one of their bigger running backs there. He's getting healthier. I don't know if he's going to be playing in this game yet. The report will be out this weekend. So I think, if anything, the Lions are getting better. They're building more momentum towards the end of the season. I like them big at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, here's the next one. I'm sorry, Giants fans, but initially I was going with the Giants' way. But based on the way things happened last week in Jacksonville, being up like 21-3 at halftime, then ending up losing that game, I don't really like them in this game on the road again. Another tough game on the road. I picked the Titans for now. I could switch it, but I think I'm going to stick with the Titans. I just don't like the Giants. I mean, look, we all understand they're not a good football team right now. There's a lot of glaring holes on the offensive line, on the defensive line. They're just not playing well. They're not a great football team right now. I think just everything, the way things are going, it's going to be tough. And the Titans haven't been a bad team. They're a 2-10 team, but it's a little bit of a deceiving 2-10 because there's been a lot of games that they've really been in, and I really haven't seen a ton of games. There has been some where they were just completely blown out, but for the most part, most of their games have been close. I think at home, they'll find a way. It'll be a low-scoring, very ugly game. Probably not a lot of highlight reels in this one to watch out for, but I do like the Titans at home. Let's go with the Washington Redskins and the St. Louis Rams. The St. Louis Rams just dismantling, blowing the doors off the Oakland Raiders last week, 52-0. I think that nothing will change this week. Now, the Redskins did look much better last week with Colt McCoy at quarterback, turning the page on the RG3 era. It's just been a disaster. He needs to go. But I do think the St. Louis Rams are a very good football team. Even without having a quarterback, their defensive line is outstanding. They have a good offensive line. They have a very good head coach in Jeff Fisher. I just think they're a good football team. If they could figure out a way to get a quarterback there, I think they're going to be in business for a long time because they have a lot of good depth personnel-wise on this team. They just need the most important piece that every team struggles to find, a starting quarterback. But I do like them on the road against the Washington Redskins. This is a tough one, a toss-up between two teams really battling it out for those wild card spots in the AFC. The Baltimore Ravens, the Miami Dolphins. Now, I'm going with the Dolphins at home. I did like the Ravens a little bit. I mean, I think this game is about as big a toss-up as you can get. I mean, both teams very similar. I don't really think either one really sets each other apart. But Haloti Ngata is now out for a while after he's being suspended for using the Adderall. So I think that there is a big loss for the Ravens defensively. It's really hard to take. I mean, his presence defensively, just the pressure he puts on an offensive line to really block him and watch out for him is big. I think that's going to help out the Dolphins' offensive line a lot, which has struggled this year. Their offensive line struggles, so Haloti Ngata being out is a big hurt for the Baltimore Ravens. But I do like the Dolphins at home here. I think it'll be an interesting game because both teams are kind of really battling it out, and they haven't been the most consistent each one this year. So it'll be a fun game to watch, but I do like the Dolphins. Now we've got the New York Jets again. It's just not been a good year for New York football teams. It really hasn't. I like the Minnesota Vikings. I think they're a team that kind of no one's really talked about, but they've made a lot of strides this year. They have. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater looks like he's getting better. Norv Turner's done a really nice job kind of growing him, especially with the Adrian Peterson whole distraction thing they had to handle. I think Mike Zimmer's done a pretty good job there his first year. Their rookie Anthony Barr from UCLA looks like he's going to be a heck of a player. Really like him defensively. And the New York Jets are just a mess. You saw it on Monday night. I mean, when you throw the football 10 times in the NFL game, I don't think you're going to win a lot of football games. I mean, even Army throws the ball more than that. I think the Jets are just a complete wildfire mess right now. It's just a disaster. Everyone knows that their jobs are probably out. It's just a bad time. I think the Vikings at home, this is a pretty easy win. Then the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. Again, no faith in the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton is definitely not right now. I mean, he lost so many receivers. I mean, you thought alone from the fact that he was losing so many personnel in the offseason that it was going to be a tough year for him. He struggled with that, his nagging injuries. Now, the Saints haven't been great either, but they did get a big win on the road against the Steelers last week. They're back in their building against a Panthers team that hasn't really shown you much confidence this year. I like the Saints in this one pretty big. Then you have the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Texans putting on an offensive explosion last week. The Jaguars coming behind from a big, being down big, beating a New York Giant team at home. I think this is going to be an interesting game, but I like the Texans big here. I just think right now they're just a better football team. There's not a whole lot of analysis to put into this one. The Texans right now just going to win this game. Then the Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills. The Bills kind of a weird team. I mean, I'm not a Kyle Orton guy. He's shown you can win games. Hopefully E.J. Manuel was learning behind him. I would have preferred to roll it out with him, but they're winning football games right now. Denver, though, is definitely not as scary as they were last year. Last year, they just terrified everyone in the league. They scored every second they had the ball. They're definitely not as scary as they were last year. Still a very good football team, though. I think they get the win at home. Then the Arizona Cardinals and the Kansas City Chiefs, and the wheels are starting to kind of unravel for the Cardinals. Their schedule the rest of the way is very difficult. Still play San Francisco and Seattle in the final 2 games. So things are starting to kind of not look too sharp for the Cardinals, losing to Atlanta last week on the road. The Chiefs, though, losing their last 2 in a row. I mean, losing to Oakland on Thursday night, and really, I mean, it wasn't much of a game against Denver at home as well. So I think Kansas City's due for a win soon. I like Kansas City on the road here. Now, I think defensively, they're going to have a lot of trouble against this Cardinals defense, but I think they're going to find the end zone eventually. A very low-scoring game. I think they win it around 13-10, but I think it's a very low-scoring game, and the Cardinals right now, things are just starting to unravel a little bit, but they have a very excellent head coach. He will bring them. It will be a close game. They'll have every opportunity to win. I just like the Chiefs a little bit better right now. Then the San Francisco 49ers and the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders just lost 52-0. That should tell you a lot right there. They're not a good football team. They really are not. I like the San Francisco 49ers, who are far from perfect themselves, but they just have too much better personnel than the Raiders to not win this game. Then the Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. Very interesting game here. I like the Eagles at home big. The Seahawks have been playing much, much better as of late. But on the road, they're just not the same football team they haven't been the last few seasons. I think the Eagles right now are really figuring it out. Huge confidence win against a Cowboys team who's been playing tremendously as well. I think that right there alone, I mean, LaShawn McCoy's been getting much, much better the last couple weeks of the season. He's been running the ball much better. I like the Eagles at home here. Now, this is a excellent Sunday night matchup. Cannot wait for this one. The San Diego Chargers and the New England Patriots. I really, really am looking forward to this game. This has been a nice rivalry the last couple years. I mean, we all remember when Marty Schottenheimer's excellent Chargers team lost to that New England team, and they were up big and they blew the game in the last couple minutes. So the Chargers and the Patriots kind of have a nice little rivalry because they've both been pretty relevant teams in the AFC over the last couple of years. So it's always been a nice little battle they've had there. The Patriots coming off the loss to the Packers. This isn't a bad. This is kind of tough. I mean, being on the road 2 weeks in a row against 2 excellent football teams, 2 very good quarterbacks. The Chargers haven't been the best since coming off their bye, but last week I really liked what they did on the road, beating a very good Baltimore Ravens team. I thought Philip Rivers definitely looked his sharpest off the bye in that game. I think it's just going to be a very good football team between 2 very good quarterbacks. I do like the Patriots here, though. I mean, look, whenever I pick against the Chargers, they always seem to win, which is kind of my line of thought here because I want the Chargers to win. So hopefully by picking against them, they actually do win the game. But I just think regardless, it'll be a very good football game. Very excited to watch that one. Then you have the Atlanta Falcons and the Green Bay Packers. Not the best Monday night game, but I mean, to be honest, they haven't been great this year. Hopefully we'll get a good one here. Aaron Rodgers against Matt Ryan. The Packers being at home. Atlanta's been very inconsistent this year. I do like the Green Bay Packers in this game. Should be one of the better Monday night matches we had. But that is going to do it for the NFL picks for Week 14. Like I said, I will find a way to get the picks out there. If you follow me on Twitter, at SportsVaultIona, I'll always put them up on there, so you will not be without loss. College football as well. This weekend is tremendous. I mean, you've got the bowl game, the Pac-12 bowl games coming up, the championship games this weekend. Tonight you have Arizona and Oregon. If you can see on the live stream, decked out in my Oregon Ducks gear. Really looking forward to that game. The SEC championship game, Alabama and Missouri. Don't be fooled. I think Alabama blows the doors off of Missouri. Missouri lost to Indiana, lost to Georgia 38-0. You see a little bit of a trend there. I think they lose to Alabama huge tonight. It's going to be excellent, though. The season has been tremendous. Looking forward to the closer we get to the playoff. But thank you, everyone, for supporting the Sports Vault. There will be lots of content to get to. We'll be in here a couple times during the winter break. So thank you, everybody, and you all enjoy.
Celebrate the USFL's 25th anniversary with this fantastic collector's magazine for the holidays. The USFL, the Rebel League that the NFL didn't respect but feared. This must-have features interviews with players and coaches like Bobby Hebert, Marv Levy, and much more. Hundreds